It's almost!
He's done it again! Unbelievable!
Oh, straight into the roof of the net. Nice one. Straight down the middle. So a good performance from both teams here today.
Hello, welcome. You're watching Firstpost. I'm Rupha Ramani. Let's get started. On the show today, Aussie cricketer David Warner has chosen to cross the border over to Pakistan. He will captain one of their PSL sides this season. But just when you thought India has possibly rid of Warner, you'd be mistaken. The entertainer in Warner is not done with India, not just yet. Details up ahead. Reports emerge that Indian commentator Irfan Pathan has been sidelined for the IPL from the commentary box because there have been allegations of him being a harsh critique. What's the whole story? And is this a fair practice going forward? And India versus Bangladesh is politically charged. And in this environment, the two football teams are just as fired up in the AFC Asian Cup qualifier. But what has taken center stage is the dismissive remarks that the Bangladesh skipper seems to have made with reference to India's talismanic hero, Sunil Chhetri. But first, a look at the headlines on Sports 360. Starting with cricket and the Indian Premier League, Delhi beat Lucknow by 1 wicket in a high-scoring thriller. Put into bat first, Nicholas Pooran and Mitchell Marsh powered Lucknow to 209. In reply, impact player Ashutosh Sharma's 66 and Vipraj Nigam's quick-fire 39 saw Delhi chase the target in a nail-biter with 3 balls to spare, Ashutosh staying till the end. Moving to football, England beat Latvia 3-0 in a World Cup qualifier. Goals from Reece James, Harry Kane and Eberechi Eze made it 2 wins in as many matches for England in Group K. England are now unbeaten under manager Tuchel with a 100% record. In tennis, world number 2 Iga Swiatek has entered the quarterfinals of the Miami Open after being tested in the first set that went to a tiebreaker. The Polish star beat Elina Svitolina in straight sets. Swiatek will now face Alexandra Iala. In news from Formula One, Red Bull are considering to swap lackluster Liam Lawson with Yuki Tsunoda for the Japanese Grand Prix in April. Lawson, who replaced Sergio Perez this season, has failed to win a single point in 2 races. The New Zealand driver was disqualified in Australia and finished 12th in China. Lawson currently sits 17th in the drivers' standings. And the 2032 Olympic host Brisbane will build a new 60,000 capacity stadium for the event. There are plans to build a national aquatics centre as well. The head of Queensland confirmed that a 20,000 capacity boutique stadium would also be constructed. Brisbane will become the 3rd Australian city to host the tournament after Melbourne in 1956 and Sydney in 2000. Guess which league is clashing with the Indian Premier League? Fighting for TRPs, the views and of course player attention and the like. Pakistan Super League, the PSL, it's about to start in a few weeks from now and will overlap the IPL. And with quite a few players going unsold at the IPL auction, the PSL has become a perfect fallback option, a backup option, a replacement for players who have nothing to do this summer. One such superstar is former Aussie cricketer David Warner, the World Cup winner who was an integral part of the Premier Tournament. The IPL for over 15 years now has crossed the border literally. He's decided that his best option now for the Indian summer is playing in Pakistan, better than sitting in the couch at home and catching the action online. Warner will now lead 2020 PSL winners Karachi Kings in the 2025 edition of the PSL, making it the very first time that he stepped across and over to the PSL in the 9 years of its existence. This is the first instance, and with that marking an end to a very long, successful but a fiery relationship with India and the league. He won the IPL title here, in fact one of just 3 non-Indian captains to ever lift this trophy. The other 2 also Aussies, born leaders, but this one is jumping ship, forced to move away from all the big money, the glamour, the star players, and of course, the top quality of cricket that is unmatched. And we saw that recently, didn't we? South Africa all-rounder Corbin Bosch chose to ditch the PSL and be a part of the IPL instead, even though he knows he may not even get a game in this starry lineup. He was called up by Mumbai as a replacement for another player in the squad who got injured. PCB, of course, slapped Bosch with a legal notice, and he responded with utmost honesty that he prefers the IPL and being a part of Mumbai franchise, which has teams all over the world rather than the PSL, that it was more beneficial for his career at this stage. Warner, in fact, has only reinforced this point here because he's finally given PSL a shot after he's retired from the game and knows he has no other options. Capping off a roller coaster ride that David Warner's had with IPL and the Hyderabad franchise in particular, from leading this side to their maiden and only IPL victory, to being dropped from the 11 in the years to come, to being blocked on their social media platforms, of course, after he was pushed out of the franchise, to trying his luck with another IPL side, Delhi thereafter, to now going unsold in the latest auction some months ago. It has been a very tumultuous journey for this Australian. Yes, there have been issues. Warner has been a difficult customer to handle. There have been complaints regarding his attitude. He's brash and curt. And from all that I've heard, not exactly Mr. Congenial in the dressing rooms. And in IPL, where you have to play alongside people, players you've never shared dressing rooms with across various countries, that can be a very daunting and challenging assignment. But the ropes finally run out, reason enough for him to think, well, might as well give IPL a final goodbye, a farewell. But like they say, you can take Warner out of India, but can you truly take India out of Warner? Apparently not just yet. In fact, his love for all things Indian, thanks to his presence in the league, was very well known and documented. At one time, especially during COVID, Warner proved to be a full-time entertainer for all of his fans, mimicking Bollywood dialogues, setting his TikTok account ablaze with his antics, roping his family, particularly his daughters, into the act too, getting fans to even joke about how all he needed now was Indian citizenship. His impact in the Hyderabad franchise was such that he's now set to make his debut in an upcoming Telugu movie. Promotions are on and Warner has stepped up like the true superstar he is, even grooving to a famous hook step from a prominent actor and his movie. So just when India thought they had finally seen the back of Warner on the international field, the cricket field, he continues to hang around, going unsold and moving on to PSL. And of course, India thought that does it then. No more Warner on the scene. Comes a movie debut. Looks like Warner won't give up that easy. But a more exciting and surely a volatile chapter awaits him in Pakistan. The famous phrase goes, if you live by the sword, you will die by the sword. Of course, this was used in a time when kingdoms went to war, kings fought battles. It essentially means what goes around comes around. That phrase has, of course, evolved in time. In the commentary box, you live and die by the words you speak. It's the commentator's curse. And with the world growing more sensitized by various factors and humans constantly trying to grow and evolve, the margin of error is shrinking. And it seems so for one Indian commentator, Irfan Pathan. The all-rounder has been part of many broadcast projects for years now. He's played a key role in the commentary box both during the English and Hindi language coverages. Except for this IPL, the Indian Premier League 2025 edition, he's nowhere in any of the rosters. He's been actively following the IPL ties though. His social media handles are buzzing with his post-match analysis. Reports have emerged that Irfan Pathan though has been kept away from the broadcast commentary on purpose, that he has not been factored in because of a sense of resentment regarding his criticism on air, that he's been too harsh while talking about certain Indian players behind the mic. Now, first things first, we did try to reach out to the broadcasters themselves. They say that after the merger, the room to keep and hold on to every single commentator that they've worked with in either of the companies would have been hard. Many key foreign cricketers as well have been sidelined, like Chris Gayle, who was present up until last edition, and not just Indians like Irfan Pathan. But to be honest, this isn't the first time a broadcaster has been asked to be axed from their has been asked to axe a commentator from their schedule. It happened with Harsha Bhogle post him criticizing the pitch at Nagpur during an international fixture. It happened, of course, with Sanjay Manjrekar later, after he called Indian cricketer Ravindra Jadeja a bits and pieces cricketer. It's happened in the past. So when the BCCI has requested the broadcasters and the crew to keep certain commentators away, it also applies to other nationalities as well. But this is indeed a strange one, because these are experts, they are commentators. They have played the game and they believe they have the experience to analyze and critique a game and the players' performances. The kind of questions Michael Atherton and Nasser Hussain, for example, asked the England captains, no less, are blood-curdling. They are brutal and can be very probing when the situation demands it. Like when England got knocked out of the Champions Trophy just recently, Indian commentators have been very harsh and blatantly bold as well. We've seen the likes of Sunil Gavaskar and Ravi Shastri unabashedly critiquing the Indian players, especially in the recent past. But maybe critique calls for stature or a certain right that you have earned to say certain words or show certain criticism, either because you are just very senior already in and around the cricket circuit and have been here for decades. You're already a legend of the sport, so you can get away with being very sharp and overcritical, as is the case with Sunil Gavaskar, or Sunny G as he's called. Or you've been around the bunch itself, the Indian players as a coach, overseen them, been their guide, mentor and friend, been with them through their lows and of course taken them to monumental highs, like Ravi Shastri, who was part of the Indian squad till a while back. So then you have that unsaid liberty to punish with your words and get away with it. Maybe Irfan Pathan has some distance, and of course that matters here, because he can get away with being very honest. He can't really get away with being very honest behind the mic. But the bigger issue for his absence supposedly is that he's letting his personal grudges into the game through his commentary, and that's determining his analysis. And that anywhere is not correct if true. Of course, I did try to reach out to Irfan Pathan to check in and also see if he wished to clarify. Maybe all he wants to do is wait for the storm clouds to pass. Everything heals with time, and in a world of social media where the attention span is minimal, maybe this will be forgotten soon enough. India is set to take on Bangladesh, and it's going to be a highly volatile clash at the AFC Asian Cup qualification round. Stakes are high in this Group C fixture. On one end is India aiming to get rid of their recent poor run with Sunil Chhetri coming out of retirement. And of course, on the other side is Bangladesh, boosted with the presence of Premier League player Hamza Choudhury. But it's more than just a game. The geopolitical tensions between India and Bangladesh is dominating this sporting contest. Since Sheikh Hasina's ouster, the relations between these two nations have not been on steady ground, and the treatment of the Hindu community in Bangladesh has been one huge focal point of friction. And that friction seems to have translated onto the football field as well. We'll of course get into that in just a bit, but first up, how do these two footballing sides look as opponents? What's their head-to-head like? 126th ranked India have faced an 185th ranked Bangladesh on 28 occasions over in the past. India has, of course, emerged as winners in 14 out of those contests. Bangladesh have only managed to win 4. The last victory, in fact, came more than 2 decades ago at the 2003 SAF Championship semi-final. The remaining 10 encounters have resulted in draws. Seems like India is slightly the heavyweight here, of course, going by the rankings as well, though that pays little when it comes down to what happens on the field. But of late, there's been a buzz around the Bangladeshi football side, and it goes by the name Hamza Choudhury, a 27-year-old footballer who's a former England under-21 international, academy product of Leicester City, having played 90 matches for the former Premier League champions, and is currently on loan at Sheffield United, playing in the second tier of English football. So how did Hamza end up featuring for Bangladesh? Well, in 2024, Hamza, who has a mother of Bangladeshi roots, decided to take up the country's passport, and since then he has been the pride of Bangladesh football. Massive crowd there trying to catch a glimpse and whatever they can of Hamza. But now with Sunil Chhetri reversing his retirement decision, the clash between the two countries is also symbolized by the face-off between these two stars. One, of course, a young star on the rise who's yet to prove his worth on the international stage. And of course, the other, the reason Indian football was resurgent at one point, a legend of the sport. And there's been a spicy press conference even before the players took the field. Here's what Bangladesh skipper Jamal Bhuyan responded to a question comparing Chhetri to Hamza.
You can't compare Sunil Chhetri to Hamza. Sunil has done great things for India, but let's be honest, Hamza is a Premier League player. He is our Messi. Everyone has respect for him.
A player who won the FA Cup, English Super Cup, is, yes, a star, especially in a country that has failed to produce too many sporting heroes. A country where the domestic sporting system hasn't been the best. But you can't ever discount a global icon who scored 95 international goals and is the 4th highest goal scorer, just behind the likes of Cristiano Ronaldo and Lionel Messi. And what Jamal is forgetting is football isn't a one-person show. You need a balanced team to win matches and trophies. Sure, a player can always have an impact on the game and an influence in its outcome, but trophies cannot be won on the basis of one player alone. This is the reason why Cristiano Ronaldo couldn't, in his prime, win a World Cup. It took Messi a solid team alongside him to win the 2022 FIFA World Cup. What Jamal's statement has now done is added more fuel to an already fiery contest. He has not only put pressure on Hamza to take Bangladesh across the line against India here, but has also angered his opponents enough to give their neighbours a fitting, resounding response on the field. India, of course, saw a massive boost with Chhetri's arrival against Maldives. They won a game for the first time in 489 days. Surely India would be looking to keep that momentum going. And what might work in the host's favour is, of course, the home support. The tensions between the two countries has led to a lot of anti-Bangladesh sentiment across the country. There were even calls to boycott the India versus Bangladesh men's cricket test series that took place in the country last year. So this is one encounter that will go beyond the football field, and that only means one thing: a high-octane sporting showdown. Time for Last Serve. We take you to the Western Sahara city Dakhla, to the season opener of the wing-foiled racing World Cup. Watch the competitors challenge each other in the wind-powered water sport. That wraps up First Sports. I'll of course see you again tomorrow. Till then, bye-bye. Take care.
Greeting you with aloha and namaste.
I love India.
Presence, occupation of a territory by another country pertains to India, what we saw in Kashmir.
How do you see Trump's America?
Yes, the current administration behaves differently from the previous administration.
Are you saying that there are foreign powers who are trying to bring down the current government in Syria?
Exactly.
Bluntly, Iran, maybe Russia too.
Prime Minister Modi committed to South-South, cooperation.
Not over 50%.
Is Ukraine prepared to pay the price for that peace?
No compromises at the cost of territorial integrity and sovereignty.